So I was saying that when we are divinely inspired, when we're feeling so drawn to be within. So I was sharing this example from C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters, that one man, he was really contemplating, he was reading a book which was inspiring him, and as he was reading the book, he was really breaking the cords of Maya, or like in that terminology, the devil and the devil's agents in some way. So breaking the cords of those, and so he was doing well. Then he was going to pick up the next book and just deepen in his contemplation, and he was really going on the right track. Then what happens is the mind comes and tells him that you're doing really well and he's really doing this, but if you want to really spend the rest of the day, you want to go really long in your contemplation, then it's better that you grab some lunch or take a break and come back refreshed and then go full on. And guess what happened? He took that break and he never opened the book that he wanted to. He never came into that thing. So Maya is very, very alert to these things. So I was just saying that many times when I was just starting out, like I would do my sadhana, which was maybe Sudarshan Kriya or something like that in those days, and it would go really well and I feel so calm, and then suddenly the mind would grab me with some anger towards somebody in the family or something like that, to just immediately push us out of that mode. So I remember times I was just telling them that so if I'm doing some sadhana and Kabir was really small then, and suppose he made some noise, I was not bothered by it. For example, like other days I may have been bothered by it, but suppose in a day I was not bothered by it. So I would just, but I noticed it. So after finishing the sadhana, instead of remaining in that peace, I would just shout at him and say, why do you make some noise? You know Papa was meditating or whatever like that. So this is how the mind just changes our inner environment as quickly as possible, especially after moments of deep introspection, deep contemplation, deep feeling of love towards God. Then it comes with all of these subtle or strong seeming approaches to pull us out. And we have to become more and more vigilant to that. So like Mother Teresa of Avila said that when we feel we are divinely inspired about something, we mustn't let nothing come in our way. A very powerful statement to make. And it is these thousands of these small things in daily life which make us saints, or push us closer to saintliness.
They are the most difficult also.
These are the most difficult. Well, in a way, like some big events happen which are very difficult, like my son's hospitalization. I feel like it's probably the most difficult thing I went through, which is was really strong. So both are, but I feel like if we pay attention to the smaller things, when the big things come, we will handle them better. But many times we just expect ourselves to just suddenly become superheroes when the big events happen. But this power of compounding is so much on these small things. That's why people like Therese, Saint Therese, Ma Shabri, small things for God. Pick up a page, put flowers. Anybody can do those things. So extraordinary lives, but made up of not, like if you keep the glamorous stuff out, like the miracles out and all of that. Look at Ma Shabri's life. She did very small things. Who cannot pick berries? Who cannot put flowers? Who cannot wait expectantly for God? So day after day after day after day after day, imagine the kind of spiritual strength that got built up in those decades of deepening, but doing small things, not jumping over any ocean, not doing any of the Hanumanji level miracles. But she was as great a devotee as Hanumanji, I would say. Like, I am nobody to say, but I would not say that. I would not say that Hanumanji would say that I am a higher bhakta compared to others. So these lives are great embodiments for us to be able to follow, because in this moment, what will we pick? If we are at home, if we are in our workplace, will we pick gossip? Will we pick anger? Will we pick complete garbage to consume in our minds? Or will we pick things which are inspirational? Will we pray? And then that 100 of these small choices every day, that itself brings us to a godly path. But we just need to start small. Keep at it. Remember, one of Maya's greatest tricks is to say that you're worthless, you can't do it, or you failed at it, so why try again? Then it's just winning, no? Then it's just we are surrendering, but to the wrong one. Surrendered to the enemy rather than to the friend.
Father, in heart of humility, is that good? Humility of heart, sorry. I guess something was wrong. It says, no, I forgot everything. I was telling you in the morning. It says to recognize that you will always be frail and weak. In the right way, this recognition brings you to humility rather than despair.
Absolutely.
And it's so powerful. Because despair will be like to feel like I can do something, but to recognize that I have to do, but I will continue to be weak. It's so beautiful.
Like if you have constant despair, then somewhere we have to examine our pride also. Because where did we slot ourselves that we come into despair for every small thing? We must really think somewhere we are some great superheroes or something like that. Isn't it? Otherwise, if you know itself that I am weak and foolish, then when you fall for weak and foolish things, then you learn to rely on God's, like we rely on God's strength alone, then we can't delay despair. मैं ऐसे ही हूँ, मैं पागल ही हूँ, but God helps me every day. That is humility.
Father, I wanted to ask you one question, actually. Even after reading, I mean, I've just begun reading, not like I've finished any chapters or anything, but one thing that came was there was this sense of like, how sometimes we feel unworthy and humility, because he says these 12 cardinal sins. I mean, he adds some more, 5 of them after Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Macharya, and he adds, poverty, weakness, ignorance, theft, which is so powerful that to attribute our doings with this body and mind. And then you have the last one, I forgot, but cruelty, right? Like all of that. So I was like looking at it.
We'll pause for a moment. The point about theft, this thing is very beautiful in a different context also. He says, what is pride? Pride is thieving from God. That which God did, we take credit for. So we are stealing it from God instead of praising Him and giving Him the credit.
And it's worse than the worldly theft. He said.
To take credit.
Professional thief is better than this thing.
Exactly. To make yourself godly in your eyes and in the eyes of others is a great theft. That's why I enjoy Podarji and Ramsardarji so much, along with the Orthodox and the Catholic sages also, because they will constantly say that मैं तो सबसे तुच्छ हूँ, मैं तो
But they see it also, no,
They see
Father?
it.
I don't
That's what
see,
we were
Father.
contemplating that day. It will come more and more. Like I'm seeing more and more.
But you're the worst.
That's the sage. Like Hanuman put that. मैं सबसे तुच्छ हूँ. I know you won't believe me, but I have to tell you. He says like that.
Tulsidas ji said.
Tulsidas ji said in the beginning of the Manas. He said so. And all these sages, Mother Teresa, every paragraph she says, I am the most foolish one. So, could sages like that be lying?
No.
Is it like a made-up humility? Oh, actually, I'm not, but let me see, this thing. So, they couldn't be carrying the sin of lying so much. It's just that because they see his greatness so much, and we see our actions which can be manipulative so easily, just to get our way, even about what you want to eat for lunch, for example, we can find a way to manipulate, we can find a way to lie, we can find a way to twist things. So compared to his greatness, when we start noticing the subtleties of our just wanting our will, then because these people's eyes have opened so much, they can see microscopically their moment-to-moment life. That's why they're able to spot and see.
This comes more with prayer, no, Father? The more you pray, the more you see.
More time you spend with him. What is prayer? It is just to be face to face with God as much as you can.
Father, it is a lot of pride, no, because when I'm seeing some things within me, I'm just not liking it. So it just, there's a lot of distasteful. And on an everyday basis, feeling so distasteful about every small, like you said, food, could be people, could be any temptation, Father. And I feel so.
It's very tricky.
So that's
so
right.
that is why spirituality, I feel, is much more nuanced than worldly forms of self-help. Because in most worldly forms of self-help, you'll say, no, this is feeling of unworthiness, so you must not. Think of yours, do some positive affirmations and say you are so good and all that. So to be able to notice where you need to change while not getting into despair, because God's strength is higher than your feelings, is a beautiful thing. But what is the way in which we could explain these things to worldly people? You would say no, but the teacher is making the disciple feel unworthy about themselves.
When met in the mind, it's met in a different way. Met in the heart, it's met in a different way.
Because the lens itself is so different when we operate on intuitive knowledge versus worldly understanding of human life. So that beautiful recognition of mental feelings versus the beautiful faith in the power of God to guide us in spite of our foolishness, to help us in spite of our foolishness, is humility. But the problem is that we don't, like in the modern age, we feel like the first part is not important. To see where we need to change, where we still block the light in our own being, where we're still holding on to.
Means Satsang.
In the sense that we, in a way, it's become very rara.
Spirituality.
Never. Like you will hardly find a modern sage saying, "मैं बहुत तुच्छ हूँ," except from their sampradaya, from a lineage like that I am a foolish beggar. It will be a very rare thing to say in the modern world of spirituality, whereas it was the prerequisite in the older traditional spirituality. The thing with humility is that the mind loves to pull you into a despair. Because the mind loves to hear everything which is self-judgmental, but ignore everything that it heard about God. Like, वो सब तो बाद में देखेंगे, but for now I am so bad. But you can't take it piecemeal. Both have to be taken together. Yes, I have been very foolish all of my life, but God's grace is greater than my foolishness. So I learned to rely on Him as a little child.
Always
That
be
is very
grateful.
important.
I think that's the difference between the question that I wanted to thank you for answering.
So that sense of innocence, where we can rely on the parent. Like what makes a child rely on their parent? Yeah? Trust. And recognize that I can't cross the street. No?
Yeah.
So is that unworthiness?
No.
It's just natural. It's just, you're a child. You can't cross the street. We can't handle life because life has got a million variables. We can't handle more than 2 or 3 at one time. So just a simple recognition of that is humility. But pride is like, I can do it. I can do it. You can't even take the next breath. We don't know the mechanics that go into it. We can't even. We think so many great things, but we don't even know how to think. How thought happens, we don't know. Like we used to say, we don't know how to move a finger, but we think we can move the world, change the world. So is an innocent child in unworthiness when he reaches out to hold the parent's hand? Is an acceptance of the true fact that they need help. So that acceptance is humility.
So far, Father, it felt like younger, when we were growing up, they would always say these artisans used to be around and they used to feel like they come from wealth, but they're still very humble, they're very like they don't misbehave. But I'm just wondering now, like that is like being a nice person is not being humble. It's not for
Because there's a I'm better than you, but still I'm being nice.
being nice. Yeah.
So this is that we are all the children of God and we are all the same.
What was the example?
No, I just like we would always stay around artisans at home. So they would always be from a low economic background and we were wealthier compared to them. So they would always say that these kids are so well behaved and they're very humble. But like it is,
You would say.
not
They would say, "Acha for you."
but it was just like there's just a pretense about that.
It's also some signaling that can happen in the sense that like everybody knows if you encourage or praise a certain type of behavior, that grows. So it's also a way to say encourage that humility. So Tulsidas ji felt like he's has a long way to go and he's really foolish and full of pride and all the errors and sins, then we must be much better than him. So if they are spotting and they are speaking the truth about themselves, then what will happen is that why don't we, most of us, we don't see that, we don't live like that, because we haven't got into the day-to-day really trying to make sure, because what is a paap, what is a sin? The act without love. So, and if we feel like it is, that's how we are living, or act like we are naturally acting full of love and all that, we are obviously not yet observing ourselves, how much me is still, self-interest is still there in our action. But once we start seeing it, then we will also recognize that we have a long way to go.
If we don't get into this daily struggle of...
Exactly. If you don't get into the struggle at all, then it will seem simple, no?
Yeah.
If I don't have to cross the river, then for me crossing the river is easy. So the main point is that if the purpose of our life is not to live in God's light and presence, which needs a clean heart temple, so if that is not our purpose and it is something else, which obviously then is the wrong purpose. But if that is the purpose, then all these things will come to light anyway. If you realize that I can spend my life with a clean antakarna in God's light, living in His presence, versus I am spending it mostly in my head full of all this darkness, then we'll not realize, then it will just be conceptually met. Then it's just a battle of concepts. What is your concept versus my concept? Because we never really got down to trying to live in that way where we can be worthy of being temples of God. So I love the term holy vessels of spirit. So if our life gives us the opportunity to be holy vessels of Atma, and we say, no, actually I just want something else, then our spiritual life really hasn't begun. Vessels of Atma, vessels of spirit is like Atma ke bartan, na? If you can't live like an instrument of Atma, like the cup that holds the Atma, then we are just not holding anything worthwhile. So only those who are trying to live as true vessels or instruments of God will realize the struggle in it, and the struggle means that realize what makes their cup unclean for the true Amrit to flow there.
After that, just before coming to Satsang, after I came, there was a thought I got, which was fully lack of love. And I'm seeing that I'm not able to hear you. Like there's a parda, humility, all just words.
Exactly.
And it's not hitting. Like one act is taking so much of me.
Exactly. That's how it is. That's
Like,
exactly
I can't
what we're
meet
talking
you.
about.
I look at your eyes, but I like glossy look. You say it's glassy look or something. It's like that, And I could trace it back to that one act of
Lack of love.
Not outwardly, in my head.
Exactly. That's exactly what we have been talking about today.
It's so like words are so dry. Like for me, they're not. It's not fertile.
Exactly. Because, and if our compass is set correctly, if our bearings are set correctly, that I only want to be a vessel of God. And without that, I'm zombie, I'm dead. Then words which help in that process sound very helpful and useful, and we want to grasp. For dear life, we want to grasp them. But if we feeling like right now, though, it sounds, if being the vessel of the Atma or living in God's presence, whichever way you want to put it, seems conceptual for the moment, then these words, like you want to study computer engineering, but somebody is telling you about humanities, it'll sound like that. So, what is it that we want? That determines our openness to Satsang also. Like if we forget what our main point of life is, do we really feel like life without Atma's presence, Atma's light, is a dead life? Because if you really felt it, then you would not pick it, at least. You may be lured into it, but you would not pick it that easily. You would not pick it. No?
Father, I do see this many times, that even a breath wasted on anything but God is a waste.
Yeah.
But no, I don't live so many moments like that. So
Same. That's what I was saying before they walked in. I was saying I've not spent a full day like that. Not a single full day has gone fully in God's will. And full day may be a big exaggeration anyway. Hour maybe I feel, yes. Maybe. Couple of hours. 4 hours, I don't know. Full day, I'm pretty sure I haven't spent.
it's also good to see like this, then we are humble. You know, we don't grow into spiritual pride. So it's good to have them on the walls. Because it's very easy to
see, what if we spent a full day like that? Then you would not hold any resentment in that day towards anyone. You would not hold a grievance towards anyone. You would not complain. You would not have any of these things. So the outer world has that use. It shows us, or it gives us the fodder to really check our state.
I think again that book, it's you said, if you compare yourself with sinners, you will always be in pride. You know, like you will think you're better than someone. But the true comparison ought to be with God only. And that hits so beautifully. You only can compare yourself to God, and you will always be a sinner. And then you will only have love for your brothers and sisters. That book is just giving, Father, every line.
Yeah. The greatness of these sages also was that truly they compared themselves with sinners also and said, I'm the worst.
And when I read those books, I was telling somebody, our words are so loose. We speak so much. And their words, every line, you can just live on it for days.
So beautiful.
And we just keep talking
That's
about
why that How to Read part by Edith Stein, we were talking about the last time. That when we read a book, don't make everything, this happens with me also, this happens, I'm also like that. You see? So when I first read the term, like, have some distance, I felt like, that's very un-Advaita of you to say that. Like I've started conversing with the authors, like when I read the books, and like when she keep a distance with the author, I was like, how are you saying that? That doesn't make sense. And then she gave the answer also, because otherwise we have such a strong framing about ourselves We'll not learn anything new. We'll just say, yeah. We'll just take, confirmation bias. All these things are so strong that we will not read. Then to read a book is such a gift. Imagine you can read a book by Tulsidaji, by these sages, because they truly try to put their life into it and to help us. But to read it like, let's say, some casual words, is then turns what are possible encounters with sages into just very mere conceptual knowledge. So sometimes it's like after so many years of spirituality, I feel like I'm still learning the building blocks of what is spirituality.
That you'll always feel.
Because the depth is, the possible depth is so much to meet God.
Never someone can actually say that they're not meeting you. No one can ever say I'm not meeting you.
So where to get pride from?
Mm-hmm.
If you truly see these things, then from where should we get pride and say, how to do that, Shosha? Main hi main hoon.
Imagine what God must be feeling with all this nonsense in our heads, like seriously.
You just have to pray for His kripa and not nyaya,
Yeah. He laughs or cries or what.
We think what we need is justice, but actually we need His mercy. Because we are quite something. Humans are quite something, all of us. Quite something.
And how we can forget. How we can just forget. That's the... And it also said, the book said, like, these saints never, I'm rephrasing it all, but never, like he was talking of humility, and they will never ever feel like they are above anything. So they know that they have the entire capacity to do evil, just like any worst sinner has. And so they will always bow down and keep themselves humble because they don't know what's coming next moment. They can sin. So, to know that the entire capacity to evil exists inside me is quite simple. And that brings love, no, to the other beings.
And because the mind exaggerates the term evil and sin to make it unapproachable, because we feel like only serial killers must be sinners or the people who are really bad, and we don't. And if we just understand that any act which is not an act of love is a sin, then we really start to zero in on the main crux of the matter.
A Course in Miracles says sin is a lack of love. If there are 1,000 acts in a day, I can say that I have sinned in that. If I take that to be true.
Exactly. We have to take it to be true.
Yeah. There's so many.
The avoidance of that truth keeps us unrepentant. Therefore, the opening of the gates of repentance doesn't happen, and we never achieve humility because we feel like, उसमें बोला है, but could be a bit of an exaggeration. The sages exaggerate, or Helen Schuckman was channeling Jesus, but she must have exaggerated a bit in that writing of that thing. So we have our rationalizations for defending ourselves. But why not take it to be fully true? It's coming from a very high source. The other problem is that this kind of enthusiasm which is helpful, but it's many times short-lived. No? So when we come to Satsang hall, when we are with the Sangha, there's a kind of this thing, but it doesn't become like a life dependency. If it becomes like oxygen, I don't know how to make it like that. But if all of us, it became like oxygen that we have to live in a loving way only, and not depending on how much enthusiasm is there for satsang today.
Father, for that also we have to pray, for that, because we can't really generate that.
It's cyclical, chicken and egg a bit. So it's a bit of chicken and egg.
The same
And that's why grace is.
I mean, maybe because even for a moment, I don't know if he ever forgot God, but even for a moment, if they did, they would consider themselves like the worst.
They would really repent that moment.
Like they say, these Rasik sons, they can't bear the separation even for a moment. They would weep and weep, and that kind of a love. If you talk of God, you start crying. Like that.
I have wept a lot in college and school for girlfriend, all that stuff. वो व्याकुलता में I have wept a lot. But in व्याकुलता for God, have I wept so much? I don't know.
Because like they say, if you don't have the Vakulta, then you ask, and then if you don't have, then cry that, I don't want to, or whatever, like you just keep getting to that prayer somehow. So.
Swami Ramsudar. He said, very close to the end of his life, and he led a stellar life compared to me at least, but he said that his main thing is तुमको भूलूं अब नहीं नाथ. That to notice that forgetfulness of God, even at that kind of spiritual maturity, and then the prayer being that may I never forget you, is very amazing. Because it is in the forgetting of Him that we get into the lack of love, to get into all selfishness, pride. Pride is we can never know for ourselves. It's very, very tough. It's very, very tough.
Open to me the doors of repentance is very beautiful, that prayer. To just do that prayer is so like.
Look at in the modern world, it's like, who wants to sit in repentance? This isn't a healthy way to live.
It can be very uncomfortable, but it's very beautiful once it's reflected.
It's very important. It's very important. Absence of repentance means that there's nothing that we have to repent for.
Grateful for these saints, Father. It's insanely beautiful, actually.
Insane.
Every time you read, you feel like this also exists, and so much more must be there. We don't even know. It's like God's just bringing everything as and when He wants us to see it like that.
I would like a few more lifetimes actually, just to dive in deeper into. But तुमको भूलूं अब नहीं नाथ. I don't want those lifetimes if I'm going to come and forget Him again. But I don't mind a lifetime which comes where I just am able to dive into all the books that I want to read and the stories of the sages. And if He's not going to give me a life in heaven where all of them are there and I can meet them in person, at least give me a life where I can just immerse myself in their stories, in their sayings, in their teaching, in their lives. So that's next to heaven for me. Because how to finish reading? We started reading Way of Perfection. Ma says that if you really want to pray, then you need 3 things. What are they?
Humility, detachment from all worldly things, and love for each other.
Neighbor, love for the neighbor. So these 3. Then I read that and said, what I'm trying to pray and all that, I don't have any humility, so who can teach me about humility? So I look for books on humility, so I found this. Then I'll read something in the humility book which will tell me I don't even have this. So it's a recursive process, which is...
They're all also connected, no? Like this comes to that brings to this. Faking love also brings love. No, nothing like if you're at that place where you can't, you just fake it and make it like that.
Like in the sense that rather than giving an external expression to our anger, if we start with at least having restraint over our tongue,
Yes.
that itself is a great first step to controlling the anger within. One of the sages said that. Beautiful way to say it.
Now that I tried it,
The anger comes up.
Yes.
And again, you'll have trouble in the modern world. Is like, oh, but you're repressing.
Yeah.
You're not repressing. You're killing the tendency, the condition. But it only works if God is central. If you're trying to just do that, then you're repressing.
Yeah.
But if God is not central to your life, then all of this will become convoluted. But if God is central, then what you do is you, rather than expressing it outside, you take it to God and say, help me, I'm dealing with this strong anger, and only you can heal me, because only He can heal us. You see, expressed anger feels good, but then it becomes habitual. You know, it feels good in the moment because you feel like you vomited, you got it out of your system. Yeah? Next time what will happen? Again the build-up will happen, and then we'll have to express more to feel that good. The next time you have to express more. So there's no end to that. Then we'll end up leading angry lives. Like some people we see, they're just mostly leading angry lives. Like Guruji was telling us about somebody in Sahaja. So one Sahaja, he just noticed this conversation. It was early in the morning. This man was angry. The other man said, you wake up like this? You wake up this angry? Because it becomes a conditioned way to live. Conditioned defense to stay. So without the Atma, which is God's presence to help us, this life is very, very tricky to deal. But the good news is we don't have to deal without God. Like who has told us to do it? It's like just like that child saying, I will cross the road but I will not hold my parents' hand. That is pride. Like who has told the child to do it? Nobody has told any of us. Like all the initial kids who left Satsang, I don't know what all they said, but the main thing that they told me was that we felt like we learned enough from you, now we have to do the rest on our own. But who has told you to do it? Nobody. This Atma inside has told you to do it. God has come and told you to do it. Who has told you? It is pride, no? It comes like that. So tricky, human condition. Do we think that we are better than the others in this room? That's the first step.
many times.
That's the thing, all of us do. The mind would not continue to make us the hero of our story unless the hero was better than everyone else. Even in the taking ourselves to be worse than everyone else is that trick. I'm the anti-hero type. Shah Rukh Khan, Dar or something. What is that? Famous anti-hero movie. So that is not the true humility. So God is our, when we listen to all of this, we realize that God is our only refuge. Can't make it on our own. What do you want to do with your lives?
Serve God.
Serve God. Now, what is required for us to serve God? We have to be with Him to serve Him. And there is no better compass than that. Than the heart compass. There is no better compass than that. But the mind tries to become the compass. And pride is just pride of knowing. You cannot have pride without knowing. Not heart knowledge, but I know, मुझे पता है. तुमको क्या पता है? This. And that's what, as future teachers, I want to tell you all that if that grabs you, that one sitting around you, what do you know? I've fallen into that millions of times in the 13 years of sharing, and even before that, when I used to think I'm very spiritual. And today also, right now also. But we do that with everybody around us. I do that with everybody. I don't know when was the last time I had a conversation where I was truly open. I can't recall. Like even now I will feel like, yeah, I'll know, he'll say what are you saying, then I'll have the right response to it, so I'll have a better answer. I'm so confident of my nonsense. I was going to use a stronger word, but
that's a bit of vigilance, that's pretty much it.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Not what I'm saying. Like fully open without any preconceived boxes. I've preached it for a long time. Have I lived it? I don't know.
Why is it so hard, Papa? Why is it that we just have to slow down and slow down more? Like just
Everything. You have to pray, you have to slow down, you have to be empty, you have to answer it. That's all. Like when was I innocent like I was as a child? That may be a better way to put it. Anyone else wants to share about this? So that maybe different way to express may help the conversation also. Like, do you all feel like you're very open?
No.
Do you feel like you're mostly open? No, now you will say because I'm framing it like that. I'm just saying, do you feel like you had a very open conversation in the last week with someone? Where you're fully open?
There's frameworks and judgments and wanting.
Defensive, wanting to be right, like especially in the teacher mode though, like just wanting to show that I am right, I know the answer, I know what this is about. It preempts our true meeting. It preempts the true openness.
If I'm not able to follow, like in the sense, like just now, came from work, I got a message of somebody I had to deliver work to. He already was misbehaving, or in that message only I felt attacked. Like, there was like, and I had to reply. I tried replying,
Yeah.
but still I replied feeling attacked.
Exactly.
Like I wasn't like to be open to being attacked also. And I don't even know how to do it.
It's a very beautiful satsang we can have on that. Just on the feeling of being attacked. Like Jesus was sold by one of his best friends for a few ounces of silver to be attacked like in the most horrific way, and he still forgave everyone. Ramji's mother, who he loved more than Kausalya, told him to live in the most horrendous circumstances, surrounded by wild animals, like young children. They were Prince and Princess Sita and Lakshmana. Own mother told. So they were all attacked, but how they took it is very different from how we take.
How to take it?
Just have to keep at it on our spiritual journey, keep praying, because keep recognizing, keep praying, keep offering it to God, keep becoming more and more humble. It's all. Only His grace can do it actually. But the more time you spend with Him, the better our chances are. The rest is up to Him.
It's great grace even in this artist, like in this moment I'm clear that this is the only worthy way of doing it. That even I can see this, that makes me fall, get up, fall, get up. If he had not given this, it would have been so much crazier. If I'm two ways, if I have to go this way or that way, that is at least clear. But this can also change, we can never say. But this clarity can, who knows?
Especially one of the most difficult bridges to cross is to become a teacher. Especially spiritual teacher means full on, not invitation, but a 16-lane highway to pride. Everyone falling at your feet and latching onto your words, and all of that can seem very attractive in the world.
You can't stop them from doing it also. Like
Can't
it's
stop
like
them because it's required to deepen your faith and to. So the teacher has to have a lot of introspection constantly happening. So you ever get into this God complex. The disciples are doing their job. It's not their fault. They are meant to offer their full heart to the teacher, their full life to the teacher in every way. The disciples are doing their job. The teacher has to be very vigilant and not to take attributes of godliness to be our own, as if they were self-created or self-endowed, is pride.
That must be so hard. Like I just see like nothing. I'm just like a normal person, but my mind is attracted to praise, which is one thing that we should shun. And I don't know how you do it. Like with being a teacher, you're praised all the time. Like you can, I see.
And those then who attack you are deluded.
Oh
And everybody around you is telling you they are deluded, they are foolish, they have this thing. So there's no way to escape that circle because it's reinforcing. It's constant reinforcing pride. कौन बोलेगा? I mean, 90% of the time, even if all of you notice, you will not come out and say. If you notice something that this was prideful,
Father, we can't
it's very
even do
difficult.
that.
It's difficult.
No, because it's falling for the mind. I feel the stimulant does that.
But hopefully your heart will guide you if this foolish man goes completely off track one day. Then keep me anchored in the truth somewhere.
Father, when I encounter this, that I'll be hearing, say something's coming, like maybe you have to say something, you have to react or respond for some temptation. That like I feel that itch, and I'm hearing the highest words. I'm praying also, but the need to fulfill that is stronger, and I'm not able to escape that at that moment. And next moment it'll break me if I meet it. I'll apologize.
You will not be happy at all
I'll
with
not be happy at all. But I will still go ahead and
it's like it takes over.
just
Mind
takes like some thing takes over.
So if you were to do an honest evaluation, if I was to do an honest evaluation, I would say that in every conversation, 95% at least, I feel like I must be right. If there are opposing views. What is your number?
99.
Yeah, that all the time.
Like maybe 100% here and there if I trust you or Joe and Pam or whatever. But yeah, apart from that, 99%.
But that's statistically not possible. That's what we have to remind
I mean,
ourselves. It's like the driver thinks.
If you feel that, it may. Yeah.
90% of the drivers feel like they're better than at least 50% of the others, which is a statistical impossibility. So could we be falling for that in our lives?
I feel with the kids, with some many people, I just meet them like that only.
That
I don't even notice, I feel sometimes.
I'm noticing this. Like with Kabir and I, if you were to have a conversation, as parent, I'm right.
Exactly. It's a taken.
अगर होगा भी नहीं तो I'll prove it that I'm right.
Yeah. Very rare. I'm not saying zero.
How many times have I accepted their feedback / criticism as if there could be some truth in it? Very little. Maybe 5%, 10%. Like all three of them told me yesterday that LinkedIn where you said retired, that was fine. Why did you put servant of God? That is not for LinkedIn. I can't accept that I'm wrong. I just can't do it. Although three of them are telling me that I'm wrong. So I can escape to Sangha where I can get like feedback and say, but it's right, it's fine, it's true, no father. I'll get that positive reinforcement. I feel good about myself, but that will take me away from the introspection. You see, but in how many introspections do I come out feeling that I was wrong? Very few. Especially if we've said it or we've done something. To come to that is not easy. Few things like they told me, okay, when you're meeting all these big shot people from Havas and all, Mama's impression was important and all of that, so can you at least trim your beard a little? So I did that. No, but under some duress, I won't say I did it fully authentically feeling how they are right and I'm wrong, but at least some openness was there about that. But in most things, I just feel like right. How can it? It can't statistically be. unless all of us, especially like as a teacher of God, if we consider ourselves to be superhuman or something, then all these people were still lost. Tulsidas ji must have been a big loser. So we have to meet all these things, and I'm at 50 now. And if I don't meet all of these things, I don't know when I'll meet them. So I read somebody called Annie Duke a few years back. I was reading for investing and all I was learning. So she said that if you think you have the truth, you're probably wrong.
Yeah,
Truth. Like your position is the true position, then you're probably wrong. The truth usually lies in the middle of two competing positions. And I said, that sounds beautiful, it sounds Buddhist, we're talking about Buddhism. But do I live like that? Like right now, if you tell me like, Raj wants to tell me I'm wrong in some way, I'm not willing to accept it. This itself is proof.
No, it only means you are ready to engage in a healthy conversation. You are going to extreme too soon, I think.
Okay, I'll not say I'm right. I have to at least apply it for one moment.
It bothers me sometimes because
I can see why the bother will come. Sometimes it bothers me also, like when, I love Saint Teresa of Avila. So when she's like, I am the worst, I am the most foolish and wretched one like me, she'll say, it bothers me also. I see where you're coming from.
and I kind of know the mechanics of the statistics.
Yeah.
So if I'm a driver, our brains are tuned to identify the error. So I only notice the error people. Then I can say, okay, they are all error. It's very natural. It's biologically wired.
Yes. I like the opposite of Murphy's law.
Yeah.
That's also very natural because we won't notice the time where we go first.
Okay.
But we'll recall the time when we got stuck in a line, so we say, always it happened.
No, Father, this pride that comes after being a good student, like the identity, like, always, like for me that's been like the most apparent, the most earlier, the noticing of the pride also wasn't there, to be honest. But grace works His way, of course, right? And when you do something which is in alignment of what you've said and you've lived that for a consistent amount of period, right? But then the pride, like that, it makes it so worthless in a way, right, Father? Like when that pride comes after doing something, like you said, the confirmation bias, that whatever you're saying, yeah, there is always like a meter that runs, right? Like, oh, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. And then you realize that you are falling again back to the track, right? I mean, how do you even come out of it without even feeling that, even if you surrender, Father, eventually you're like, oh, there you go, you surrender. Oh, there you go, you didn't say a word. You resolved it, you surrendered it to God. How do you even begin to disperse it and begin to, Father, I been really at this thing, even this indicators, I have a cat at home, right? If I don't feel love towards it, I feel like, oh, I'm going away from God. So literally it's like a biomarker, like biomarkers, it's like a marker for me that, oh, if I'm not treating it well, if I'm not feeding it on time, or if I'm being very harsh on it, sometimes they act very erratic, that's when you realize, oh, with humans you can make out because they react. Yeah. But the pets, although I don't hit it or anything, but you see it, you see that you're not being loving towards that, little being. So And when you are, then you're like, oh, okay, now, So it's a double-edged sword in some ways, no, Father? Like, I mean, following your words, like, have been the one focus of my life, and then, when it happens, then you become, like, so proud of even doing it, Father. Like, it's...
That's why I'm saying that, at least in my case, and may God bless you all so much that you far exceed this one, but in my case I can say that I don't feel like I can report a single full day where I've lived up to my words.
That's it, me.
Just really take note of that, or at least to the level to say, okay, why is he saying like that? Then, is he being disingenuous? Is he being overtly humble? One option is that. Or am I noticing things which I never was able to notice, like you're noticing now? Maybe there's even more to notice and say, if I'm able to conclude that I have lived the life of Satsang consistently, then am I setting the bar too low for myself in terms of what that living that life would actually mean?
See the last line.
In the sense that if we're able to conclude for ourselves that for a few years I've been able to live a true life, that's a very big statement. That's a very big statement. So as your parent, I would be a bit cautious about that. I would wish that upon all of you, of course, and full blessings for that. But I would really encourage the introspection and see that in a day have I consistently been loving without grievances, without resentment, without anything which is mental, all spirit. Have I really lived in God's will consistently?
I feel it's more and more zooming in, Father.
More and more zooming.
More zooming, like seeing everything closely. And that will keep happening.
Yeah. But this question itself is good. Because most people who get into pride would never question themselves at all.
It's so beautiful when we meet it in the heart, and so messy when we meet it the same thing.
There's no resolution in the mind.
No.
The mind will just get scared of this kind of satsang and say, Bhago. Nobody wants a true mirror.
Like with you, I want you to tell me the truth always. But when taking it to you, like, I feel like I have to be ready for my pride to be chopped because it gets very, very uncomfortable. Like, even though I feel like what I feel the highest for you, but still, it's so hard when you say it.
And the teacher has to be extra sensitive to that, in the sense that we must always be from the heart. Otherwise what can happen is that if we go with prejudged, everyone will have some preconceived, prejudged notions based on interaction and things like that. Then in lack of patience, if we don't come from the Atma and we come from a preconceived idea, then that can be very detrimental to. The idea is to help the disciple to look at their areas, blind spots and pride and things like that. But many times we can create trauma in the exploration itself. So we just have to be heartfelt constantly. And it's true for me that I've realized that if I share with patience and love, rather than trying to be very dramatic and choppy. I feel like although dramatic and choppy keeps everyone entertained, but in terms of actually making lasting change, because the narrative is always that the chop is needed to make that change, and many times it is true, but I've noticed a replacement for patience, because that change may happen. I may say something in a very choppy way, and we may immediately notice that about ourselves, and that may happen, but that then fear of bringing up a question, fear of being berated by a parent, by authority, all that can also grow in that process. So it's not that straightforward. You feel like that. So, at least in my contemplations, I'm going away from that kind of thing.
Yeah. If not, it's I was really reporting from my.
I'm not blaming at all from this thing, but I'm just saying that for myself and all of you as future teachers of God, you need to notice that there's one approach which is like a Zen stick type approach, which is very popular. Student mistaken. But we always, what is that called? When you hear just the success stories, right? Like India is the land of, Bangalore is the home of unicorns, and like business success and all that. Because you hear only there's something. So because we hear only of the ones who truly got survivorship bias. Survivorship is one, then there's something which is, and where the stories of success are the ones which we hear, but the 99 failures we don't hear about, so we feel like everybody should start a startup, for example. So yes, survivorship is yes, but I feel like there's another one also. But so what I was saying is, in the Zen stories we hear about the ones who had moments of awakening because of the Zen stick or slap, or this one slap and this one slap. But I'm really wondering about the thousands who must be there who didn't get awakened and probably lived in more fear or trauma and things like that. So I will do it. Looking back at it, has my heart ever guided me to be choppy towards another? I can't really say. It's very difficult to look back and confirm whether it was from the heart or from some pride. I like to believe most of Satsang sharing has come from the heart, but it could just be a belief. I'm not really certain. So the idea was how to make it a fully safe space. Because of what she's saying. There's a natural fear to expose in front of any group. There's a fear to expose in front of your teacher. There's an idea that he will think lower of me. This is always there. So dealing with all of that, and yet to enable true communication, if not communion, to happen. That has to be, and it is the teacher's prerogative to do most of it. Like 90% of it has to come from the teacher. Like with some children, and I hope Jyotika won't mind me saying, but in her case, for example, even if she says something very true, very good, and very helpful, like most times she will apologize for it. At least with me, I don't know how it is with roommates and former housemates and all, but I don't know whether it's parental conditioning, something. And Nitin also has a strong streak of that. He will put himself, at least with me, I don't know how it is with Ishana and everyone else, but even if it's very, and apparently I've taken it in a good way also, I'm laughing about it or happy, still she'll feel like, oh, did I do something wrong? Should I apologize? Rather, I used to have that earlier, now not as much. So all this, the teacher has to notice and try and make it more and more comfortable for children to express.
Most of us have a child parent. Doesn't matter how the childhood was. Most of us have this child parent conditioning in different ways, I feel.
Yeah, very strange conditioning. Like I have a strange conditioning that if I drop a glass, then I just feel like somebody's going to shout at me, because my parents used to shout at me, although we used to have steel in our house at that time. But I remember my dad coming home from work, and if I would drop a glass by mistake with water or something and make that noise, he would just yell at it. And it was not that he meant it like in such a strong way, but children just pick up these impressions. So this parent-child thing is very strong. She has very strong fear of getting disapproval from her parents, for example.
If somebody meets my parents, they just think they're so good, and they are good people.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. So I don't know where it comes from.
My father,
It's all good. He looked a bit upset.
you wanna say?
No, I was just telling him.
Sometimes no matter what you like, I feel like I've experienced that a little bit of growing up, that like even if 88% was 96, 97 was more approved. When I got to like 96, I used to live 88. So mom didn't speak to me for 2 weeks.
Oh.
Like, and then when I got 80%, I used to cry under the metro or something, because the others were 96.
What do we tell them?
Things kind of things like really
Of course, the children are so innocent.
It's very hard to be a parent, father.
I
What
don't
even
even mean it.
No, I know you're not saying. I'm just saying it's insane, because they are always usually well-meaning, but you must have created blunders. Blunders. Sorry, I'm just going to read it. Please. I'm just going to make this noise.
No, make noise. Broadcast.
If I think is it if these parental conditionings really have not so strong, the real work won't start.
I have more.
That's what he thought.
It is all the real world. It is all the real world. One step towards 3 steps. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Nirvikalpa Samadhi always. Even I feel like it's very easy to just try and focus on like spiritual experiences rather than work on humility, pride, all these things. Although they help each other, but in my case, I would gravitate towards sadhana, contemplation, reading. But if somebody told me I was proud or I had to change this, I won't like that. I would just escape from that. So both aspects are important. Our staying with God helps our virtues help us stay with God. Every step is important. In fact, I was saying I'm ulta teacher. I'm an ulta teacher. Like some excerpt came on spiritual advisor from Satsang. It was like some high Advaita I was saying that I tortured all you kids with this stuff first instead of talking about love, faith, humility, patience, gratitude, all of these things. It's all grace. It's all.
उल्टा सीधा लग रहा है मुझे. I don't know how it is.
Yeah, but God's curriculum is strange and unique.
It's very beautiful. Strips us of everything we know.
And God's grace has been so much upon us from the beginning. We have not had any. By His grace and His grace alone, I have not had a slip, like a big slip in any controversial sort of thing, whether to do with any sort of relationships or money or any of that. He's kept me safe. That is the biggest blessing. That Maya's temptations have not. I mean, of course, we've had a lot of cake. We've done a lot of temptations have happened in that way, but nothing which is like, which I would then really not be able to forgive myself for. So I feel like by His grace, I've not been inappropriate with anyone in the Sangha. So all of those things, all the basic stuff which is needed for a safe space of sharing God's light, the sanctity of that by His grace alone has been maintained for the past so many years, and by His grace may it be so for the future as well. Because when those kind of things, where you have to hide things, when you have to, I would not want that at all. So He's been very kind to us, and I had all the potential to falter in so many ways, but His guidance, His grace has always blessed us with at least a safe environment for children to come. That itself, the very basics are rare in today's world. Look at the amount of exploitation which is happening in the world.
We are blessed to have you.
Yes.
It's all God's grace. I truly mean it. Just His, I don't know how He kept us safe. He just kept me so immersed in His love that I didn't feel like I needed to get it in some other sort of convoluted way. It's all His grace. And how He just, wherever I'm stuck since the beginning of this journey, He just sends the right book, the right teacher, the right quote, the right something. He does that for all of us. But to see it so clearly that I would just feel like I want to contemplate this particular thing, and just the perfect material comes. So I feel Kierkegaard is the best example of that. But right from the beginning, I went to buy an astrology book. But he led me somehow to buy that autobiography of Yogi, which I don't value so much now, but at that time it changed my life. His grace is so upon us that, and I was not worthy of it, I still am not, but I don't know how. That's why all these sages are right, that he only knows how to do kripa.
Yes.
when we are questioning his kripa, like I was questioning his kripa when Kabir was in that state, I realized that he's beyond questioning. He's beyond. Okay, we can stop here. I'll go.
And Giri is come.
Okay.
Is it near lift?
Of course.
Where did you eat?
I ate breakfast. Yeah.
Lunch?
No. That's it. I'll go.
Oh, don't take sugar. I would have given you my chicky.
At least before my doctor's appointment at 5, I should be a good boy. Not take sugar. She can just scan me for blood sugar levels with her eyes.